Meet Buzz Aldrin, one of the amazing people who actually walked on the moon. He's got some fascinating insights about our lunar neighbor, which he shared later in life.
There was something out there that was close enough to be observed, and what could it be?
When you hear the name Buzz Aldrin, you probably think of the Apollo 11 mission and all the incredible things he did. He's not just a moonwalker, he's a symbol of human courage and exploration. This was a man who walked on the moon, who danced with the stars, and who became an embodiment of humanity's quest to venture beyond our earthly boundaries. With his sharp mind and military discipline, Aldrin was a key player in making Apollo 11 a success. But he's not just a brainiac, he's also a real-life action hero. Buzz served as a fighter pilot in the Korean War, showing his fearless spirit. On Apollo 11, he had a critical role as the lunar module pilot. His job? To ensure the Eagle, the lunar module, safely landed on the moon and then joined up with the command module. Every switch, light, and piece of data was under Buzz's watchful eye. His role was like the linchpin in a delicate operation, holding together the success of the entire mission. And then came that heart-stopping moment we all remember. The descent to the moon. As the Eagle separated from the command module, guided by Aldrin's hands and sharp mind, it made its historic journey to the lunar surface. The journey to the moon was no walk in the park. There were tricky moments, like a navigation computer going haywire, big rocks on their landing spot, and running out of fuel. But Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong faced these challenges with a coolness that's hard to believe. They had to make lightning-fast decisions to ensure a safe moon landing. After Neil Armstrong's famous One Small Step speech, Buzz Aldrin made history by stepping onto the lunar surface as the second human ever. As he descended the ladder and touched the moon, he described the view as both breathtaking and lonely, calling it magnificent desolation. His words beautifully captured the strange mix of beauty and emptiness on this unfamiliar world. While on the moon, Buzz set up experiments, planted the American flag, and even took a moment for a spiritual act, sharing in a symbolic communion on the lunar surface. Buzz Aldrin was more than just a scientist. He was a humanist too. He showed us how science and the human spirit can come together in a beautiful way. Buzz didn't just walk and work on the moon, he played around too. He hopped, skipped, and showed us what it's like to move in the moon's lighter gravity. Imagine the joy on Earth as millions watched him act like a kid in a lunar playground. He also took some legendary photos, like one showing his boot print on the moon's surface, which taught us about lunar soil. Buzz even snapped a selfie, one of the very first space selfies ever. And remember that iconic photo of Buzz saluting the American flag on the moon, with Neil Armstrong's reflection in Buzz's helmet visor? That was Buzz being part of history. He even had a historic chat with President Richard Nixon, who called him and Neil the two most famous guys in history. Nixon said they'd made a huge leap for all of humanity. He re-entered the lunar module after Armstrong and prepared for the ascent. He activated a switch that sent an electric current to ignite the ascent engine, which lifted them off from the moon. He then docked with Michael Collins, who was orbiting the moon in the command module Columbia. Aldrin's contributions to Apollo 11 were monumental, not just in terms of technical know-how, but also in spirit. Buzz Aldrin experienced space sickness during the Apollo 11 mission to the moon, which was the first time that a human being suffered from this condition in space. Space sickness is a form of motion sickness that occurs when the inner ear and the eyes send conflicting signals to the brain about the body's orientation and movement in a weightless environment. Space sickness can cause symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, dizziness, headache, fatigue, and loss of appetite. Aldrin's space sickness was not widely reported or discussed at the time, as NASA wants to focus on the positive aspect of the mission. Avoid any negative publicity. However, Buzz Aldrin later revealed his space sickness in his autobiography. He also talked about his space sickness in interviews and documentaries. He said that he wanted to share his story to help other astronauts and future space travelers prepare for and prevent space sickness. Buzz Aldrin wanted to show that he's just as human as anyone else, and he did that by being open about a challenge he faced during the mission. On the third day of their journey, while he was busy doing experiments and maneuvers in the command module Columbia, Buzz got what's known as space sickness. He was using a sextant, a tool to figure out where their spacecraft was in space, and also trying out a fun zero-gravity experiment with a pen and paper. But then he started feeling queasy and uncomfortable. Buzz didn't keep it to himself. He told Mission Control and his crewmates, Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins, about how he felt. He tried to deal with it by taking medicine, resting, moving slowly, and having some water and crackers to calm his stomach. Thankfully, he didn't throw up, but he felt sick for about 2 days. Buzz was worried that his space sickness might affect the mission's success and how people saw him. He didn't want to let anyone down, especially because he was seen as an astronaut and a hero. Good news, Buzz Aldrin bounced back from his space sickness before he joined Armstrong on the moon's surface. He did his job as the lunar module pilot and became the second person to walk on the moon without any issues. But here's the fascinating part. Buzz has talked about some mind-boggling things he noticed on the moon. He's suggested that there might be hidden structures, or even a base on the far side of the moon. Whether it's leftovers from an ancient civilization or the handiwork of extraterrestrial visitors, it's a concept that's loaded with excitement and the mystery of the unknown. Now, let's dig into what Buzz Aldrin's been hinting at. In interviews and public talks, he's mentioned some strange things seen on the moon. These include unusual structures or formations that can't easily be explained as natural features. In Aldrin's view, these could be indicators of something more, a hidden base or an artifact from a long-lost civilization, perhaps even something of alien origin. The far side of the moon, often referred to as the dark side, remains largely unexplored. This is the side that always faces away from the Earth due to the moon's synchronous rotation. It's a place shrouded in mystery, where the unexplained could easily hide and where our limited knowledge leaves room for incredible possibilities. Aldrin's suggestion taps into this mystique, sparking our imagination and fueling a desire to explore and understand. Could there really be hidden structures or a base on the moon? Aldrin's comments have ignited a flurry of excitement and speculation. People have begun poring over lunar images, looking for signs of artificial construction. Some claim to have found evidence of towers, bridges, and even complex installations. While many of these findings can be attributed to pareidolia, seeing patterns where none actually exist, the fact that a seasoned astronaut like Aldrin entertained the idea adds a level of gravitas that's hard to ignore. Interestingly, Aldrin's enthusiasm for the subject goes beyond mere speculation. He has actively called for renewed exploration of the moon, especially its far side. His desire is not just to satiate our curiosity, but to unlock potential knowledge that could be vital for humanity's understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. If there were indeed ancient structures or alien bases on the moon, discovering and studying them could lead to technological advancements, historical revelations, and a completely new perspective on life in the universe. And let's not overlook the adventurous spirit that Aldrin's suggestion embodies. The notion that there could be hidden treasures waiting to be discovered on the moon is enough to ignite the imaginations of young and old alike. Think of Buzz Aldrin's idea like those old maps with "Here be dragons" marked in uncharted territory, where the unknown called out to the brave. In our modern space age, his concept perfectly matches our human urge to explore new frontiers. Hidden structures on the moon? That's an irresistible challenge. Who built them? How old are they? Finding the answers could be the ultimate goal of modern exploration, and the chase is thrilling. Aldrin's call for exploration and investigation is a call to curiosity, adventure, and the pursuit of knowledge. It resonates with those who believe there's more to discover about our universe. It ignites the imagination of scientists, explorers, and dreamers. But when it comes to tales of mystery from outer space, few can match Aldrin's account of seeing something peculiar during the historic Apollo 11 mission to the moon. July 1969. All eyes on Apollo 11. Armstrong, Collins, and Aldrin were the trio representing humanity's first ever attempt to land on the moon. As they zipped through the cosmos in their command module, Aldrin spotted something that would spark debates, inspire countless theories, and keep our cosmic curiosity burning for decades. Looking out of the window, Buzz Aldrin saw something strange floating beside their spacecraft during the Apollo 11 mission. It wasn't a quick glimpse. It was there, clear as day. This thing wasn't part of their ship or any known space junk. It moved in a way that seemed deliberate, not just tumbling randomly. What made this sighting incredibly intriguing wasn't just that something was there, but who saw it. Buzz Aldrin wasn't just an ordinary person making a wild claim. He was an astronaut, a scientist, someone trained to observe and report with accuracy. He'd gone through tons of training and tests to make sure he could document every detail of the mission. Imagine being thousands of miles from Earth, surrounded by the vastness of space, and suddenly seeing something you can't explain right outside your window. That's exactly what Buzz Aldrin and his fellow astronauts on Apollo 11 experienced. Naturally, they must have been filled with questions. Instead of immediately telling Mission Control about this strange sighting, they took a cautious approach. They first asked indirectly about the location of the part of the rocket they'd detached from earlier. This was to check if what Buzz saw could be that discarded component. The answer they got confirmed it was 6,000 miles away, so whatever Buzz was seeing wasn't that. People began speculating about what this mysterious object could be. Was it some kind of optical trick, a reflection from inside the spacecraft? Or, as some boldly wondered, what's even more intriguing is that Buzz Aldrin didn't keep this story to himself. He openly talked about it in interviews, sharing what he saw, how he felt, and his own thoughts about the event. Buzz Aldrin was cautious not to jump to conclusions, but he was sure he saw something truly unexplainable. His experience during the Apollo 11 mission reminds us that space is still a massive, mostly uncharted frontier. Even with our best technology and brightest minds, there's so much we don't know. Buzz's encounter makes us wonder about the countless mysteries hiding in the vastness of space, just waiting for us to uncover. What Buzz saw has inspired scientists and skywatchers alike to keep exploring and asking big questions about our universe and our role in it. Apollo 11 was a pinnacle of human achievement in space exploration, but it's this unexpected, unexplained twist that adds a touch of magic and wonder to the story. And here's something else Buzz has said about the cosmos. He believes we're not alone in this vast universe. When you think about the mind-boggling size of the universe, billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars and countless planets orbiting those stars, it seems almost crazy to think Earth is the only place with life. Buzz Aldrin is adamant about this point. The idea of Earth being a unique, one-of-a-kind place in the vast universe seems incredibly small when you think about the sheer immensity out there. How can we, on our little speck in the Milky Way, be the only thinking beings? Aldrin is no stranger to monumental achievements. He, along with Neil Armstrong, took that historic leap onto the moon's surface. His first-hand experience adds weight to his beliefs. If humans can set foot on the moon, why couldn't other life forms be out there, looking at their own moons and stars, pondering endless possibilities, just like us? Buzz's passion for space exploration and his dedication to unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos are crystal clear. He's explored the alien, the otherworldly, and the cosmic unknown. We're not alone. Now, let's take a deeper dive into this cosmic perspective. Imagine a vast ocean filled with all sorts of creatures, from tiny plankton to massive whales. If Earth were just one drop in that ocean, it would be pretty absurd to think that life only exists in that one drop, right? The wonders of the universe are mind-boggling, but every day, our scientists and astronomers are making discoveries that expand our understanding. Exoplanets are popping up all over the place, and many of them sit in the Goldilocks zone, that sweet spot around a star where life, as we know it, could thrive. These are just the ones we've spotted so far. There are surely tons more out there, just waiting to be found. Buzz Aldrin's ideas also come with a gentle but exciting challenge. He's urging humanity to keep exploring space. His belief in aliens isn't just talk, it's a call for us to keep venturing into the cosmos. He's pointing us toward a future where traveling between stars isn't just science fiction, but a real thing. Imagine the civilizations we could meet, the cultures we could learn from, and the cosmic riddles we could finally solve. And don't just think about creatures like us. Imagine what other forms extraterrestrial life could take. Maybe silicon-based beings, sentient gas giants floating in space, or even entities made of pure energy. The universe is like a limitless playground, and Aldrin's faith is a reminder of the incredible possibilities that await us. Sure, some folks might say there's no rock-solid proof of aliens yet, but Aldrin's view is rooted in likelihood and optimism. It's a reminder to always stay curious and open-minded. When we look at the enormous size of the universe and all the exciting exoplanet discoveries, the idea of life beyond Earth isn't just possible, it's highly likely. But what about life on the moon? The moon is a pretty tough place for life to get started. You see, Life as we know it needs certain things like water, organic molecules, energy sources, and the right temperatures. The moon, though, is a harsh, barren environment. Life might have made it to the moon is through us humans. We've been sending spacecraft and landers there since the 1950s, and some of them might have carried tiny living things or experiments. For example, in 2019, an Israeli spacecraft called Bereshit crashed on the moon with thousands of tardigrades on board. These are super tiny creatures that can handle extreme conditions. Some scientists think these tardigrades might still be hanging out on the moon, but even that's not for sure. If there is any life on the moon, it'd have to be super basic and tough, like bacteria or fungi. It would have to survive in tiny, isolated spots, like inside rocks or ice. And it would have to deal with the moon's lack of water, nutrients, and energy. But don't count on finding complex or multicellular life up there.